Good morning. It is our Saturday video, and today we're going to talk about break through the baloney in your brain. That was for alliteration, not really the metaphor. This is a breaking of baloney. Okay, so that doesn't work. I'm leaving the title anyway. So let's move right along so you see what I'm talking about. By the way, I'm Art Lieberman, and I wrote The Art of Weight Loss. We just published that recently in November, and The Art of Focus. That's been out for several years. And we're going to talk about both those things and ideas from both those books today because they overlap. So I was researching weight loss, and I realized that I'd stumbled onto more. And it wasn't really a new idea for me because I wrote a lot about these ideas when I wrote The Art of Focus. I think it was in 16 or 17 I wrote that book. I don't remember which year it was exactly now. But the ideas from both books help each other, okay? Weight loss, writing is a weight loss method. You might not realize that, but we're going to talk about why a little bit. And I talked about this a little bit in a former video. And I want to talk about some more ways that this is true. So here's some of the things you can do to lose weight. So we're going to get into this, and we'll talk about how this has to do with focus and how it applies to other areas of your life. Write down the food you eat in a journal. Well, that one really doesn't apply directly to other issues that you might be dealing with. I'm going to move that. Okay. But it does apply indirectly. So let's say you're dealing with a thing in which you are stuck. Everybody gets stuck sometimes. Start writing down what's getting you stuck. Okay. So if it's a weight loss thing, if you write down the food you eat every day, and I'm not even talking about all the calories and everything. That just feels like too much. But amounts probably are a good idea if you can do it. That you can get real specific with it, and it's all right and it's good. I'm just saying, to be especially helpful, I think you get about 85 or 95% of the benefit just from writing that list of everything you everything you eat, rather. Write down everything you eat. And why? Because it brings awareness. Food, like maybe other things in life, is something we do without hardly thinking about it. I mean, I can eat peanuts and eat more and eat more and eat more, and they just, or a bag of chips. I went through a bag of chips recently, and I was like at the bottom, and I'm like, whoa, how did that happen? And, you look at the serving size for the bag, it's like 5 or something. Like, what did I just do? And this is one reason I, and maybe you too, I know everybody's body is different, staying away from carbs. The chips were carbs, and they were healthier blue corn chips. But I mean, carb high, right? And so for me, when I start getting into heavy carbs, I want to just, push them down. Now, if I'm writing down my food, then I go, I ate a bag of chips, and not a little tiny bag, but, when it was supposed to be 4 or 5 servings. The other one is, and people have different ideas about this, and listen to everybody on it. But I think it's best if you can psychologically handle it. And we are talking about psychological and feelings and emotions today. Write down your weight every day. And for some people, when they go up, that's a blow. And I'm not going to tell you that it's not a disappointment for me when my weight goes up. So, I mean, I can easily go up 3 pounds in a week without hardly even realizing what happened. And so if we're writing it down every day, there's awareness. If we're not, no awareness. And so if I go up 3 pounds this week and 3 pounds next week and 3 pounds the next. And with really not being aware that my diet has changed or anything like that, because small changes all of a sudden can make a big difference. I can add a carb here, add a carb there, add a carb there. I can fast, not as cleanly or not as long. And boy, I get to the end of the month, I'm gonna weigh myself. I'm 10 pounds heavier. That happens with me. So I weigh every day because it keeps me, I'm going to say it keeps me honest. It keeps me aware is a better word. Honest isn't the right word. It's aware. And I need awareness right here in my face because I can just think something else is going on, or not really realize that I'm gaining weight. So what if we're dealing with something else? Okay. What if we're dealing with, okay, we want to watch less TV or play fewer video games or spend less time on social media. What if we write it down or use one of those apps for social media that tells us how much time we've been on it? Because if you're like me, you can start Facebooking and come up for air, 45 minutes later. And if you do that day after day after day after day after day after day after day, that can be a problem. It doesn't mean that it is, and maybe that's not a problem for you. I'm just talking about if you think it is, if you feel like it is, and it's something you want to change. This is an area where you see you're stuck. And for instance, maybe you got plans and you're not getting your plans done, but you're spending all this time on Facebook. Well, I'm not telling you don't spend time on Facebook. I'm saying just write down the number of minutes or use one of those apps that tell you. Keep yourself aware. If you want to remember how much you're working out, write that down. That's a positive thing to write down. Well, so is your weight when you're losing weight, right? It's a positive thing to write down. So we're talking about a kind of journaling, kind of a checklist kind of journaling, something you just do every day. And even, whatever you ate in the day, you can do that the next morning, probably relatively successfully, but some people might need to do it more often because it's easy to forget about the snacks that you ate. So I think if you're really trying to lose weight, eliminating snacks is a really good idea, even if it takes you a few weeks to get to where you can get them eliminated. It might take a few weeks when you're really used to eating at 3 o'clock every day or something. You're used to eating a snack. Moving on. So let me talk about 3 other kinds of journaling. And I'm not saying you got to spend a whole lot of time with any of these, but these have all been proven to help people lose weight. Stream of consciousness journal. That's where you just get on and you just write, whatever's in your mind. Okay. And you don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Some people say spend 15 minutes on it. I don't think it takes that much time. You spend 15 minutes if that's what you got and you're still going and you're enjoying it. You spend 3 minutes on it if that's all you got for that day. A value journal is something different. Just write down what you value. So a study was done with some college women and they just wrote down stuff that they valued. And they lost 3.5 pounds in a month, whereas the control group gained weight. So why? And this is all they did. They didn't make other changes. Why? Because when you start thinking about your values, I think you start feeling good about what you're trying to do in life. And if you feel good about what you're trying to do in life, you aren't going to eat to try to handle negative emotions. And I think this is one of the issues with weight loss is people are trying to eat. Or let's talk about those other things. People sit down and watch television to try to handle their emotions. That's me right there. I could just sit and watch when I'm not feeling good about myself, or I'm not happy. I just put it like that. Speaking of which, how about a happy moment journal? Okay, so this has also been proven to be way successful. And the lasting benefits of the happy moment journal are months. And so I would just do it once a month. But you get about a 3-month benefit from sitting down and writing about a happy moment in your life. And if you do it for 20 minutes. So sit down for 20 minutes, and it might not take that long. It's just in the study, they did it for 20 minutes. By the way, I think it's best to use paper and pencil, but I still think it's way helpful if you just sit down and type this stuff out. Lately, I've been using a pen and a spiral journal for whatever it is I feel like writing, and my writing changes almost every day. One of the things I've been doing, and this helps too, is Shad Helmstetter. I think I'm getting that last name right now. Shad, I hope you're saying your name right if you're watching this. But he wrote a book about 365 self-talk things you can do to lose weight. I just murdered the title of that book, I'm sure, but and I recommend it for anybody losing weight. Or he has some other similar titles, 365 this or that, where you write stuff out. Now, I change up what Shad says. I don't use it word for word, but I did learn what makes it effective. So right in the present tense, I am losing weight today. That's an example. I am losing weight today. I am making good choices for myself today. These are these kinds of examples. I am. And I do this in the morning, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in the good sense. So that's a different kind of journal that I don't have listed here today because I forgot to put it in the presentation. But I highly recommend Shad and his work. Reading Neuroplasticity right now. That's not the Power of Neuroplasticity. I think that's the title. Sorry if I murdered another one of your titles. But these talk about self-talk. And self-talk, I think, has huge value because there's a lot of crud in your brain. This is for weight loss or for other things you're trying to change in your life. If there's something you're trying to change in your life, the Shad Helmstetter approach should be to sit and start writing about what you are doing, but you're visualizing doing it correctly. And I wouldn't say I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. I'm not watching TV today. But what is that thing you want to do instead of watching TV? Is it playing with your kids? Is it playing games with your kids? Is it, you can see what's on my mind today. Is it picking up an instrument that you've been wanting to learn how to play? Is it working on a language you're wanting to learn? I'm doing both these things. So I'm using just my own things. Is it cooking something interesting? Is it crocheting? Is it, you come up with the list. All of us want to do something better. Is it calling friends on the phone and connecting? So is it working out? How many of us don't feel like we have time to work out, but we'll do social media for 45 minutes? Okay. So we have to make those judgment calls on ourselves and figure out what it is we really want. And I think the issue with social media, and here we are probably seeing this on social media, but it makes us feel like we're connected with people, and that connection is really shallow, typically. Having said that, boy, I feel like I make some great connections on social media sometimes. So I'm not just saying that. I just think we can just be shallow, but we can use it deeply. Maybe that's what we got to look at. How can we be more deep with it all? Let's go on to the next one. Okay, and I've talked about this before. Maybe you've heard me say this before, but if you're not doing this yet, start today. Grab a 3x5 card or grab a sticky note almost put that on my face just for fun, but I'm not going to do that. Grab a sticky note. Write down 3 things you're grateful for and whatever comes to mind, and do it every day. I like to do it in the morning. I recommend doing it in the morning. Start with 3, make it 5, make it 10, make it whatever. 3, I stick with 3 pretty regularly. And if I don't have time to write, I sit down and I say them out loud, because I think there's value in that too. Whatever we say out loud, all the stuff we're talking about writing, you can probably say it out loud. It probably benefits your brain in a different way. So if you're trying to double up on something, it's like learning a language. Can you just write to learn a language? We can learn how to write a language doing that. But there's a different part of your brain that handles speaking. So anything that you're trying to learn, if you could speak it and write it, by the way, when you speak it, your brain is doing that thing to speak it, but your ears are hearing it. So it loops and goes back in. So what are you grateful for? I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for getting to learn how to do these presentations on Canva. And hopefully they're getting better. You can tell me and let me know, all right? So other kinds of writing. So just sit down and writing about your feelings might be really important. Just write down what they are. If you're like me, and some of you are and some of you aren't with this. Some of you know exactly what you're feeling at all times. I don't. I have to stop and go, okay, let me think about my feelings. Otherwise, I'm just handling business, and I have the feelings go into the background. And they can go way background. And when they stay there for too long, it creates problems for me, and I get clogged up emotionally. So what's the difference between feelings and emotions? I forgot. I knew when I was writing this, but they're very similar. Feelings, I don't know, one of them you think, and the other one is something you also feel in your body. But you can write about both of them. If you're like me, I can feel things in my gut, actually in my gut. Now this is making sense. They're learning about this, that our brain and our gut is very connected. So, and just writing your plans out. There are 2 kinds of plans. What am I going to get done today? And the other kind of plan is, what are my long-term plans? What would I really like to see happen? And I don't know how important it is to, okay, some people say it's really important to be specific about when. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sophisticated enough on that yet. I've done it both ways. So sometimes I've just written down, like when you're dreaming, I'm calling them plans, but what are your dreams? I don't mean you're dreaming at night, but when you're sitting down and going, boy, I'd sure like to do this. So this would be nice. You can write that stuff down. You can speak it too. Okay. And moving right along, we're going to keep going here. So you can see that this has to do with, before I move along, you can see this has to do with weight loss. Why the feelings and emotions? Because so many people talk about emotional eating. We overeat because of feelings, and not just the negative ones. Happiness can cause us to overeat also. We eat stuff we probably don't want to actually put in our mouth because of feelings and emotions. Because food makes us feel good. And not only that, food makes us push emotions away. So if we start writing about it, then we're dealing with it. And we're aware. I'm just talking about awareness. The writing makes you aware. All right. See, not just for weight loss. I never could quite figure out where to put that slide. It could have come earlier with what I've been saying. Hey, look, my face ended up in the circle. I didn't mean for that to happen, but it did. Let's go down here. Fun. Okay. It's not just for weight loss. Writing is for any place where you get stuck. We all get stuck with probably multiple things. Right. People get stuck in relationships, their plans, and even their rest and relaxation. They know they need more of this and they're not doing it. Heavy people often struggle with emotions and feelings. Not just heavy people, though. This is how they got heavy. It's not the only way. I think some people are great with feelings and still struggle with weight. Just about anything I say, there's going to be some sort of exception somewhere. So that's just the nature of people and even weight loss. How are you getting stuck? Maybe you're not. No, maybe I'm putting words. Maybe you're not getting stuck. But if you're not sure and you just kind of feel, write a list about what you would like to see different. Sometimes we would like to see something different and we give up because we just don't think it's going to happen. Don't do that. Don't do that. Write down what you want to see happen in your life, even if it's big and way out there. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. All right. I think it's the last slide, and I'm going to move my face out of the way. Ooh, let's go to the square. Yeah. Okay. Everyone can benefit from writing because it gets you focused and brings calm. It can stir things up sometimes too. But it's a good kind of stirring up is what I found. It stirs things up and now I can start to handle it. Now I can go, oh, I see that. I can deal with that. I see that. I can deal with that. Because if you're like me, it just all becomes this cloud in my brain and I'm fogged. And when I start writing it down, it starts to become something I'm aware of and it becomes concrete. And now I can handle it and I can lose weight and I can be productive, especially with my evenings. I'm already productive in the mornings. If you're not there yet, just start by writing a gratitude journal. That's how I started. And my productivity in the morning grew and grew and grew and grew. Hey, this is the longest video I've made in this series. If you made it to the end, good. If you didn't, it's probably because I got too long-winded. Many blessings to you.